welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about different types of stabilizers and backings and toppings and all the things that you will need for embroidery. And we're gonna go over just real quickly what each one does, what you would need each one for, and hopefully this will help answer any questions you guys have of what type of stabilizer do you need for certain garments or bags or hats or whatever. In this video, I hope to cover them all. I think I have just about every type of stabilizer. So if I'm missing one, leave one in the comments below, but I think we've got it. So let's start with the two most common ones that you're gonna use. You have cutaway and you have tearaway. Now, one of the first things I learned in embroidery was if you wear it, don't tear it. It seems to be the rule. However, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a hard and fast rule. There's plenty of garments that I use tearaway on and not cutaway. And to me, it depends on what it is. So let's go over what that is. So when you first look at different stabilizers, you're gonna notice it's not just one type of cutaway that comes in just one size or roll. My favorite type of cutaway is the poly mesh cutaways. These are very light. They are not very thick at all. I really like these for sweaters. This one is even softer than this one. It's a little bit lighter. You'll see that they come in ounces, and it basically just shows you how thick it is. Now there are very, very thick cutaways that you would use for like beanies and things like that. I don't have any of that on hand. I just have this poly mesh because I just did a whole bunch of crew necks. But this is a cutaway. You can tell it is cutaway because it does not tear. It's very, very tough, very, very sturdy. So this is what I use on crew necks. If I'm going to use a polo, I will double this up twice. It's very, very soft, so I will double this up twice if I'm doing like a polo. I would also use cutaway on the inside of basically any type of sweater, hoodies, crew necks, shirts, things like that. You're gonna want cutaway for. Now if you're doing like a really thin Bella canvas shirt and doing like a front pocket logo, I would again use something like the very soft poly mesh cutaway stabilizer. So you will find ones that you prefer over others. It just depends. I've gone through a lot of different stabilizers, and the ones that I like the best are the really soft poly mesh ones. So now going over to tearaway, you can tell tears very, very easily. This is basically like paper. To me, it feels kind of like the kids' construction paper. To me is what this feels like. Now this also comes in different ounces and different weights. Now this I use a lot. I use this for the inside of duffel bags. I use it for tote bags. You use it for hats, and it comes in different sizes for hats too. Like this is, I wouldn't use this whole thing. I would actually cut that a little bit, but you use tearaway for hats. You use tearaway for basically for anything that you don't need that long lasting stability for on the back. You can use tearaway for dish towels, bath towels, tote bags, duffel bags, hats, things like that that you don't need that extra stability for is where tearaway really comes in. Now, like I said before, there are some clothing items that I do use tearaway for. I use it on Carhartt jackets or really, really thick hoodies. I will use tearaway for. I had somebody comment on a Carhartt video that I did saying like, why didn't you use cutaway? But they're so thick that you don't need, in my opinion, that long-lasting stability once you take the backing off. They're such a thick material to begin with that I don't think it's necessary, and I think it just looks cleaner on the inside when you're doing, you know, usually you're doing it for somebody's work. I just think it looks cleaner. I don't think it's necessary. But if you would prefer to leave that on there, then by all means do it. I'm not saying don't use it. That's just my personal preference. So those are instances where you would use tearaway. Now this next stabilizer, it looks a lot like the poly mesh cutaway stabilizer that I showed you, but this is actually like a mesh water soluble stabilizer. I've only used this once, and I used it in my clear tote bag video. I'll leave a thing right here. I used this on the inside of that. I think at the time I didn't have regular tearaway, and I didn't want to use cutaway because I wanted it to be as clean as possible. It's a clear tote bag, so you want it to look as clean as possible. You don't want to see a square of white behind your design. So I had used this, and it actually worked out really, really well. So basically you just do your hooping and everything as normal. embroider as normal, and then this washes off. You don't have to tear it away or anything like that. You just put it in the wash and you're good to go. Now, if you were using this for something that you're giving to a customer, I wouldn't necessarily wash that whole garment, but I would get it wet, and then this will dissolve and you can get rid of it that way. So if you don't have regular tearaway, you could use this on things like kitchen towels, dish towels, you know, clear tote bags, clear backpacks, things like that is where things like this would come in really handy. I've also seen a lot of people use stabilizer like this on freestanding lace embroidery designs in the hoop, like earring and jewelry patterns, things like that. You basically just hoop this, stitch it out, dunk it in water, and then wait for it to dry, and you're good to go. Things where you need the backing to basically disappear is what you would use this for. Okay, now this next one is this sticky stabilizer. Now this sticky stabilizer, you basically, you know, it's exactly like it says, it's sticky. It has a backing that you peel off, and there's adhesive on it. Now this I only use with my 8-in-1 fast frames. This really comes in handy getting the backing on. I use this for things like stockings, pockets, sweater sleeves, things like that that are really hard to hoop regularly that you use that 8-in-1 device for, you would use sticky stabilizer for. A sticky stabilizer and 8-in-1 fast frames come in handy together. I actually need to buy some more of this because I use my 8-in-1 fast frames a lot, and I love it. This one I actually have yet to use myself, but I bought it because I want to try it on some polos. This is a fusible stabilizer. On one side, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's very, very shiny. It has an adhesive on it. And basically what you do is hoop your garment like normal, embroider like normal, and then you heat apply this onto it after you cut it out of your design. And it's supposed to help reduce like puckering and stuff. I really want to try this on some polos. I saw some comments in an embroidery group that I'm in that this really helped them not get puckering on really nice like golf polos. So I wanted to try it, and we'll see how it goes, but this is another type of stabilizer. I just can't say much about it because I haven't used it yet. So there is this fusible stabilizer. Now this topping right here is called Tender Touch. Now I know a lot of you guys know what this is, but just in case you don't, this basically has a smooth side and a rough side. I mostly use this on children's clothing, like when I make shirts for my children, things like that. After you embroider a shirt, all of the stitches that are on the inside that are going to be up against your child's skin, you would cut this to size and heat apply it, and it just puts a really nice soft backing on the back of those stitches, and it's not going to irritate their chest and stomach and things like that. It's going to protect them from the stitches on the inside. I know people do this on polos and stuff too, and especially if you have like sensitive skin, this really helps. Just a great backing to be able to cover those stitches so that skin doesn't get irritated. So this is called Tender Touch. I usually get this at Joann's and use a coupon for it, but you can buy it pretty much anywhere, Amazon, Walmart, things like that. Okay, and this last topping is water soluble stabilizer or aqua top. They're basically the same thing. It's a clear film that you put over materials that have a lot of like fluff to them, things like minky, fleece, terry cloth, things like that. You don't want your stitches to sink into those long fibers and not be able to read what it says or see your image. I use this a lot when I do minky baby blankets, and it just really helps the name stand out and pop. You don't have the long minky hair sticking through your stitches. Your design looks crisp and clean. I also sometimes use this on crew necks, not a whole lot. If it's like a really thin run stitch pattern, sometimes I will, but it's usually meant for things that are really thick or really fluffy, and it just really helps your stitches not sink in. So those are the types of stabilizers and backings and a couple different toppings that you might use in your embroidery journey. I hope I explained them pretty well for you guys. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you have any questions or if you want to see videos on any of these specifically, and I will make sure to get that done. I'll leave links down below to these ones and some of the pre-cut sheets that you can buy. You can buy them in like 10 by 10 sheets, which makes it perfect for like your 8 by 9 mighty hoop, things like that. Sometimes it makes it easier to not waste as much if you have it in a pre-cut sheet. Sometimes I'll go to take some off the roll and be like, ooh, that's a really big piece. So sometimes the sheets, the squares are a lot easier. So I will leave links to all of that down below. So I hope this video was helpful, and I will see you guys next time.